there's a couple of things you just said that, for example, change. One of the things that I always mention to people is that they're scared of change.
Yeah.
And the only way we can move, the only way we can grow, the only way we can move forward is inviting change. And also personal development, we call it lifestyle enhancement, is based on a combination of a number of things. There isn't one technique. There isn't one, there isn't one an idea or one food that you should eat.
Yeah.
It's a combination of all these different factors
Yeah.
that gives you that perfect balance, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so right. It is the combination of factors, and you have to address every part of your life. But I also agree with you that so many people are scared to change, and I think the most common reason for that fear is, can I do it? It's that fear of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can make this change. I'm so addicted to eating, we call them fries, I know you call them chips. I'm so addicted to eating chips and drinking soda every day. I used to drink 8 cans of soda a day. I get it. I used to be a total soda addict. I was eating carbs. I would eat a sleeve of crackers, saltine crackers every day. And I no longer do that. And my body and my brain are so much better as a result. So one of the other things I wanted to do in this book is I wanted to give people, for example, the 12-minute meditations, or, hey, just have one omega-3 superfood a day. Can you do that? I wanted to give people these little bite-sized pieces, and I also wanted to break the program into 3 weeks, so you're not doing everything all at once, because I think that's scary for people, and I think that does tap into that biggest fear of, oh my gosh, I'm so scared of change, and because I don't know if I can do it. So if you start to make these little changes in your life 1 week at a time, and you start to feel a little bit better every week. In fact, in the journal, I have people scale on a scale of 1 to 10 their journey throughout the 21 days. People notice, oh, I'm feeling a little bit better this week. And that gives them the positive feedback and the momentum to keep going to the next week and to make the next round of changes.
And I think personally that people should think, because we were talking about being scared, but I think people should be thinking about regrets. As you said, you don't want to be, late in life regretting all the things that you could or should have done.
Yeah, that's the biggest fear.
We're only here once in life, so
yeah,
we better make the best of it.
Life is precious, and I think that so many people aren't living; they're existing. And you're right. When we're on our deathbed, it really is regretting the things we didn't do, rather the things that we did do. So wouldn't it be great if people could actually do a little mental time travel and say, oh, I bet I would regret not making these changes in my life, and then really bring that intention into the here and now to make some really tangible changes.
Now, I know you help people overcome all sorts of things, but what do you mainly help people with?
I would say brain fog, which I describe as people who just don't feel like themselves. I like dealing really people with a very whole person centered approach, right? So I don't really treat severe mental illness anymore, just because my schedule doesn't really allow it, and people with severe mental illness really need people who aren't going to be gallivanting off to London and Sydney to do interviews like this. But I now treat people, which I think is more and more people around the world, and some of these statistics reflect that. The dementia and Alzheimer's rates that are tripling around the world, and more and more people having anxiety disorders, and the scary world that we live in, and bombings, and the 24-hour news cycle, and watching our television, watching these images over and over again at not just at 5 p.m., but then 11 p.m. and 12 midnight. I like to help those people now, because I think more and more people just don't feel like themselves, and they have a little bit of anxiety, maybe a little bit of ADHD, maybe a little bit of depression. They just don't feel like themselves. Their mood could be a little bit better. So my goal is to help those people, which I think, by the way, it's probably the majority of Americans, and I would venture to say probably about the majority of people living here in the UK as well. Just when you look at what we're eating, how we're living, our relationships, our spiritual practice, and all of these things, that we're not doing things the way we should be doing them. But there are simple fixes for that, so that's good.
So you basically just help people kind of like to focus and to stay kind of centered, I suppose, and really just move forward with kind of like a clear goal in mind.
Yeah, I think centered is a great word for it,
yeah.
and really make some tangible progress. I love seeing people go from okay to great. So I would say that is my goal, to take people who are feeling okay, but they know that they could feel better, and I get them to feel even better than they do now.
Because you also help a lot of people from a relationship point of view.
Yes, and I really believe that relationships, I do a lot of couples therapy, I do a lot of sex therapy in my practice, and I have a chapter in my book called The Epidemic of Loneliness, and I really look at the way relationships are really so healing for the brain. You know, we know, for example, that loneliness can double your risk of Alzheimer's disease. So really we could say that by cultivating healthier relationships, by building them and cultivating them and working on them and making them better, you're really not just taking care of your psychological health and your heart, but you're also taking great care of your brain.
So do you think those are kind of like the common denominators with kind of people in general when you come across them? That loneliness, sorry.
Yeah, I do. I think more and more people are lonely, and I think the irony is that social media has made many people antisocial.
Absolutely.
Because they have now they have thousands of Facebook friends, but very few friends that they could call confidants. And some of the statistics are reflecting that we have less and less people that we say are confidants. In fact, in America now, 25% of Americans say that they have none. They have no close friends they could tell anything to. So I think that's sort of a frightening statistic. And listen, I think social media can be a great thing when used properly,